Speaking of swinging back and forth, there are a few things that Jeff Keighley, or few people that love Kojima as much as Jeff Keighley, to the point where something will swing. It's a genital joke, is what I'm making right now. Swinging like a pendulum is, you know what? Okay. It's not my best transition ever. I'll grant you that. Anyway, the thing is, everybody knows that Jeff Keighley has a bromance for Kojima. Okay. Yong also has a huge hard-on for Kojima. It's like a thing. I don't know what it is, but he's obsessed with him and can never let it go. It's really, really uncomfortable, honestly. So let's just see what this is. Apparently, PT and Silent Hills hints have been discovered in Kojima's OD game reveal trailer and presentation. Now here's the deal. This stuff like actively gives me a headache. I'm going to watch it with you guys because it can be funny and interesting. And maybe there are actual like little tidbits in here that are true. Who knows? I have no idea. I have no idea. But I also don't really get the hype around Kojima, honestly. Like I've tried. I thought Death Stranding was fine in terms of gameplay. It's very relaxing. I do play it occasionally on like rainy days because it's just fun to run around and deliver packages. But I think the story is one of the most asinine, bafflingly stupid things I've ever experienced in my life. And if I could scrub it from my brain, I would do it. Because like, again, if anybody is like, no, it's actually really good. I'm like, bro, he names entire characters just Die Hard Man. And they're like, we have to save the United States. You go across the entire country and you see like 4 people. And they're all holograms because they couldn't find a way to actually put them in the game. It's like, this doesn't really feel like a world worth saving. And like all the wildlife you see in the opening of the video game, yeah, none of that's actually in the world. The whole world is totally dead. And it's narratively possible for them to be in there because they're in the opening section of the game and then just never seen again. There's just many weird things about Death Stranding. But anyway, I think Kojima is a great game director and designer, but he needs to have an executive producer or he needs to have a big corporate bigwig that keeps him on a leash. Otherwise, he just makes Death Stranding and it's like got 20-minute cutscenes that nobody can recite or tell you because it could have been communicated in 15 seconds, but instead he spends 20 minutes just blabbering.
Just what are you up to, buddy? What a crazy shenanigans will you present us with your new game OD, which is already dropping some pretty heavy hints about some potential connections with other well-known IPs, or he could just be pulling us along. I don't know. But before I go into that, let's talk about OD itself. It was presented during the 2023 Game Awards. It is labeled a Hideo Kojima game, so it is a video game, though Kojima also said that it's also a movie and a new form of media, whatever that means.
Exactly. It doesn't really mean anything because he also said Death Stranding was a new genre of video games, which I don't know how you'd say that. Like, I guess there haven't been many UPS delivery driver simulator games released, so maybe you could say that. But he said it was a new genre because of how you connected and worked with players. And I was like, dude, have you never played Dark Souls? Have you never played Dark? Like, there are all those signs on the floor to say, like, and they kind of meme with you and joke, like, treasure this way ahead, and then it's just a cliff, so they trick players into leaping off the cliff, and it's honestly kind of funny. But then there's often like actual help, and they'll warn players that there's a boss around the corner, stuff like that, which honestly is just as much of a Strand type game as Death Stranding was, where other players are building bridges and leaving ladders and gear behind for you to use. Like it's the same basic concept. I don't really understand why when Kojima does it, all of a sudden it's a novel, crazy thing, you know?
And the Xbox logo was prominently featured, and apparently this is going to leverage Xbox Cloud Gaming, so whatever this is, it'll be fascinating, no doubt. And this trailer didn't really show us much.
Yeah, I've said before, and I will stick to my guns on this, this is one of the most god-awful trailers I've ever seen for anything. I don't know what on earth I'm supposed to take away from it. I don't know why he thought that this would excite people. And all the more bafflingly, Jeff Keighley decided to give this like a solid 7-8 minutes at the Game Awards. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like, this is nothing. This is a face scan of an actress, a couple of actresses and an actor. and that's it. Like I just don't understand why anybody thought this was a good idea. But still, his fans are probably lapping it up.
It showed us, I think, what is essentially some like facial capture performance footage. I think it's them just kind of like testing out the technology with the actors, and some of the actors include Sophia Lillis, Hunter Schafer. Now, this particular part of the trailer actually has a hint that you'll likely not notice at first sighting. I'll get to that in a bit. And then somebody else involved is Udo Kier, and the trailer concludes with this already memed footage of the girl screaming here, followed by the title OD, a Hideo Kojima game, and it leverages Unreal Engine technology and 3Lateral, which deals with like MetaHuman, which is the character creator and character model and character animation creator that Unreal Engine leverages. That's a really powerful tool, so characters are going to look awesome. There's the For All Players and Screamers tagline alongside the Xbox Game Studios logo. It was also revealed that Jordan Peele is involved in this project, and for those...
Yeah, and this was so cringy too. Like, I think it pissed me off, and it pissed a lot of other people off, because Jeff had been rushing everybody else off stage and not giving anybody a chance to actually thank their teams and their families and stuff at a game award show. And then they bring on a celebrity who I guess we're all just supposed to love. Like, here's the thing. I think Key and Peele is one of the best sketch comedy shows of all time. I think it's hilarious. Everything they did was brilliant. I loved that show. I watch clips of it to this day, and they always crack me up. However, why should I give a crap what he thinks about a video game? Like, respectfully, all due respect, which in this case is not very much, because he has no idea what he's doing with video games. He's made a couple of horror movies, which I guess makes him a genius now. I just don't get it. Like, I just don't I don't understand it. I don't get it. And then it also reaffirms with Hideo, he does this too, where he just constantly is putting whatever celebrities in his stuff he can. He goes and has dinner with them and always makes sure to share a picture. Like, it's the same thing with Jeff, where they're all just in it seemingly to meet as many celebrities as they can and get that social status. It also explains why they make such a hard effort towards getting the love and adoration of Hollywood. Like, you know how I think it was last year, 2022, when they brought out Pacino, was it? Did they bring out Al Pacino? Was that who it was? They bring out like a bunch of Hollywood head honchos and famous actors and actresses and stuff, even though they have nothing to do with the game in question or the Game Awards or anything. It's just they're brought out because their grandkids watch the Game Awards and they thought it'd be fun, and Jeff Keighley would get to meet them and have dinner with them. It's just really strange. It's really, really strange. And I actually I knew a couple of people that went to the Game Awards and went to the post-show party, because there's apparently a big party where you can just kind of show up if you're one of the VIPs. And I don't know if he was supposed to tell me this, so I won't say who it was. But basically he said that at the party, it was just the most weird, awkward thing ever, because Jeff just surrounded himself with whoever was famous that went to the party, which wasn't everybody, but like he just would try to huddle around and keep the celebrities with him off in this corner, and everybody else was just kind of off in another corner. It was like prom all over again, where the popular kid clique is over there and you're not allowed to enter or say hi because you're not included. It was just really, really weird. Meanwhile, Idris was in the game and didn't show up. Yeah, no, can you tell he just doesn't care? I think he was probably off filming something, honestly, but what are you gonna do? Yeah, anyway, the whole obsession with Hollywood and getting Hollywood approval for the games industry is so cringy to me. It's like, no, they should be coming to you guys to get approval, not the other way around. Gaming is thriving and flourishing. Meanwhile, cinema is struggling with constant difficulties getting anything of substance out.
Who don't know, beyond, Key and Peele and, beyond his acting endeavors, Jordan Peele is also a pretty prominent movie director, and he's tackled the horror genre, and he's done so pretty effectively. So this partnership, I think, is also kind of exciting. So that's all we know.
I mean, I'll be honest, I watched his films in sort of a fever dream. I was sick, and I was like, I got nothing better to do. And of course, no spoilers in case you want to see them yourself. We'll not do anything like that. But I found them to be kind of mediocre horror films. I didn't find them to be that remarkable. After all the hype, I was like, okay, well, like, they weren't bad, which I guess is an accomplishment, because a lot of horror movies are just bad. But I didn't find him to be like very impressive either. I was like, okay, whatever.
About the game at first sight. But then we delve into some of the hints that Kojima has dropped that might hint at a connection between OD and PT as well as Silent Hill. Now, on one hand, this could just be Kojima being cheeky, or it could very well indicate that there is some kind of conspiracy here that we don't know about that Kojima's trying to kickstart, because that's what Kojima does. The game really begins not when the game launches, but with the marketing campaign. So the first hint is a fairly obvious one. So after the trailer played during the Game Awards...
Yeah, 8 minutes they spent on this. 8 minutes they spent on this. Meanwhile, the acceptance for the game of the year for Baldur's Gate 3, he's thanking like his team and the developers that have passed away during the development of it, during COVID and everything. Meanwhile, like Jeff's like, hurry it up. We got to give Kojima more time to ramble about a game that is clearly not ready to be shown.
This door showed up from which Kojima appeared. Now, people who are fans of PT will immediately recognize this door because it is literally the exact same door featured in PT. Here's a high-definition render of the PT door directly from the game, and if we go back to Kojima's door, you can see that it's literally the exact same door. It's got the exact same lamp or light bulb up top here, and going back here, you can see that the model of the door itself, the 4 panels here, the rectangular panels here, the color of the door, like it is damn near
very door-ish, dare I say,
identical to the door seen in PT here. The one difference, I suppose, is that the knob and...
The one difference between it being a perfect match is that it's not a perfect match. I'm sorry, I'll shut up. I find this stuff so stupid and so funny at the same time. It's very entertaining.
The keyhole here doesn't have this metallic frame on it, but it's basically the exact same door.
It's basically the exact same door. You know, another term for that is that it's not the same door. It's similar, sure, but it's not basically the same. That's like an oxymoron.
Especially the fact that this light bulb here is featured in the exact same way that it's featured in PT. Kojima was very conscious, at least, about what he was doing here. As for what exactly he's hinting at, obviously only time will tell. Now, if it were this by itself...
Is it a hint if nobody knows what the hell it means? Like, in the studio right here, I could tell you right now, I have something behind me, or in the studio, that hints at a future project. Okay? Like, what does that tell you? Like, nothing is clear. You have no idea what I'm hinting at or what it... Like, is it actually a hint if nobody knows what the hell you're trying to hint at or what it means? Like, I don't think so. I don't think that counts. You're just doing something to generate like some interest. Like, I think that's all it is. It's just hype farming.
My train of thought would be, this is just Kojima being cheeky. You know, there is a strong likelihood that there's no real connection to PT, and it's just him kind of calling back to his previous horror venture that really didn't end up working out. But then you look deeper into the trailer itself, and fans have already discovered a hidden message. The hidden message, ladies and gentlemen, is Atami. If you go through the trailer and frame freeze at specific moments where Udo Kier is talking, you'll actually discover that for a very brief moment throughout the course of this trailer, and very kind of hidden, you have to almost modify the image to really see this, you'll find hidden letters. So there's somebody here who actually captured every frame where the letters appear, and what it spells out is, here's the A, here's a T hidden on the corner of his mouth, another A, here's an M, it's very small, but it really is there, and then an I in the corner of his mouth here. That spells out Atami. So what's so special about Atami? Well, as somebody responded here, Atami is a city in Japan located in Shizuoka Prefecture, and the way you spell Shizuoka Prefecture in Japanese is with the following characters. And you can see right here, if we type those characters in Google Translate, it spells out Shizuoka. But what happens when you separate these two characters? When you individualize these characters?
Do you feel like you are entering psychosis yet? Just wait.
Well, the first character spells out silence, and then the second character translates to hill. It literally says Silent Hill.
It literally It Widowy says Silence Hill, which is Widowy, the name of a game he was working on. Widowy. Like what? Okay, like here's the thing. I think I haven't verified the color alteration things. I've actually thought it would be really funny to make like an anonymous Reddit account and then go into some of these trailers and pretend like I found something like this. Just be like, okay, I freeze framed and this, and then I altered the colors and I tested it and I found these letters. If you, the filters have to be precisely right, but then it clearly shows these letters here, and then it spells out this message clearly showing this, and just seeing if anybody ever fact checks me, like if anybody actually tries it themselves, because I think it'd be so funny just to troll people like that. To be fair and clear, I have never done it. Okay, maybe we'll do it as like a stream thing, and we'll see if it actually happens, but maybe we'll do that, but yeah, I who knows. I haven't tested this myself, so I don't know for a fact if the letters actually show up. I guess we could try that. Should we try it? I think I have Premiere still installed here, because then we can say clearly and confidently this is like confirmed and the letters are there, and then we can move on from that. I am fully expecting the letters will actually be there, to be clear. I'm not expecting any trouble. Okay, and then they did a couple of color filters as well. Contrast down, and then we can also maybe increase this a little bit, try to bring out some shadows a little bit. Let's see. Oh yeah, for a single frame, man, Kojima, I thought you were running a business. How does he have this much time on his hands? Like to go through frame by frame and then add in letters so some of these people see this stuff. T. Yeah, and it doesn't look like a compression issue. It looks like actual letters. And then I think that, yeah, you could probably say that's an I. Okay. Humans are gross. And then in real time.
The hungry, purple dinosaurs ate a kind-singing fox, the jabbering crab, and the mad whale, and started wending and quacking. Still
A god-awful trailer, but the letters are there. Okay, fact check confirmed. Already did more than some of these other creators did. That's what you get when you watch Luke Stevens live. I'll tell you what, we will dig into the mouth and the lips and the gums to find the hidden messages. Okay, we do it live.
If you take the spelling of the Shizuoka prefecture and separate the characters and look at them individually, and so it's
okay. I guess we should fact check this as well.
That spells out Atami. So what's so special about Atami? Well,
so if we just Google Atami, it says 3 symbols. Where did he get the 2?
Somebody responded here. Atami is a city in Japan located in Shizuoka.
Okay, the prefecture is that. Okay, so it's within the prefecture. Quiet. So that it's showing us Quiet Hill. Quiet Hill Prefecture. If you do it individually. Okay. I'm tracking now. So it's a space that's basically named after a quiet hill. Okay. Now that seems to me kind of like a pretty clear nod. Does that mean that this is a Silent Hill game? Probably not, because Kojima doesn't really have access to the license as far as we know. But it could just be that it's like a little nod for fans. I don't know.
Prefecture, and the way you spell Shizuoka Prefecture in Japanese is with
the Ken is just on our okay. Shocker, I don't know how to read Japanese. I know that might come as a surprise.
You can see right here, if we type those characters in Google Translate, it spells out Shizuoka. But what happens when you separate these two characters? When you literally says Silent Hill, if you take them individually. And so it's almost like spelled out for us directly. Again, there's no way this is just some coincidence or just some kind of accident.
Oh no, I think Kojima is trolling a little bit. Like, he knows that Yong's gonna make videos like this, and Jeff's probably called him late at night while in the bathtub painting his nails and has asked him like all of the ins and outs. I have no doubt.
Kojima must have done this very consciously, understanding the conversation that this will create. And I know there have been rumors circulating that Kojima and Konami have mended relationships enough where Kojima might be able to make something Silent Hill related if he desired to do so. But those are very much in the realm of speculation. There's no confirmation of any sort in that regard. And so it's hard to say for sure whether Kojima can even touch the Silent Hill IP or if it's something Konami is willing to lend to Kojima. And if that somehow happened behind the scenes, and if that's what Kojima's hinting at here, and OD is actually on some level tied to Silent Hill, and it is Kojima revisiting this project that fell apart because of the dispute between Kojima and Konami. And obviously, this is not going to be exactly PT or exactly Silent Hills. Obviously, completely different actors are involved, unless Norman Reedus is involved in this project and Kojima's still keeping that a secret or something along those lines. But at the very least, there's a conscious effort to draw attention to the Silent Hill IP and to PT on the part of Kojima. And the craziest thing that could happen would be if this all ultimately ended up being part of the Silent Hill universe, though we don't know if that's what's ultimately going to end up being the case. This could very much just be a case of Kojima saying this is a spiritual successor to PT, to Silent Hills, but it is a completely different project entirely. It's maybe him just hearkening back to those days and just kind of reminiscing about the project that was once meant to be, but an aspect of that he gets to carry on through OD, like the spirit of what the project was supposed to be, maybe will be imbued.
I don't get the point of this. Like, I grant you, many of the videos I make, you could probably ask, what's the point of this? Valid question. Just like I think it's a valid question. What are we doing? Like, okay, he hints at a quiet hill. I think it's clearly a nod towards PT, probably suggesting that, hey, this is kind of what I wanted to do with that, but this is like the evolution of it. I think that's where, like, that's all you have to say. That, and he's probably trolling, he's probably trolling some of his fans a little bit. Because they'll do it like this. If you guys were so crazy that you guys did this with my videos, I would start putting coded hidden messages in videos. Hell yeah, because it'd be so funny. Like, did you see Luke spelled out the secret word for oak wood in one of his videos in the background for just a single frame? The letters pop up. And so I found that, and I did some reverse Google searching, and I found out that there's actually a video game developer set and has their campus in a forest that's based around oak wood, and the studio is called Oak Games, and so clearly he's involved with the production of that. Like, I would do it so much. I would do it constantly. Maybe in the next videos I'll put some of those hidden messages and just see if anybody notices and goes crazy. Maybe I'll start putting coded messages, just being like, help me, or I've been kidnapped, or I'm not allowed to leave this room. And I'll just see if people start to spot it and lose their minds. I think that could be funny. You guys will be in on it, but everybody else, if they see it, that could be really funny. Why not?
With OD, even though it is its own unique IP, it'll be kind of a representation of some of the original ideas that he had with PT and Silent Hills. Maybe it's kind of just saying that. I don't know. It's hard to say for sure, but this is some crazy Kojima shit going on right here, and no doubt it's going to keep discussions ongoing for the months and years to come as this game continues to be developed. And then one last thing to note about the trailer that's kind of interesting is the phrase that the actors speak in the trailer. So for those who want to check that out, here's what that looks like.
The hungry purple dinosaur ate the kind zingy fox, the jabbering crab, and the mad whale, and started bending and quacking.
Okay, so the phrase somebody decided to spell out on Reddit here is the hungry purple dinosaur ate the kind zingy fox, the jabbering.
I just want to know how Young is finding is he really just like browsing Reddit for stuff about OD? Like, is he that bored? Like, bro.
Crab, the mad whale, and started bending and quacking. So what the hell is this? It sounds like gibberish at first, but what this actually is a phonetic pangram. So
Yeah, I thought this was known. It's they use this for like vocal warm-ups, musicians and actors and stuff. It's like, you know, if you do tongue twisters before a show, because it goes through these difficult motions, so you're less likely to trip up on your words. It's the same kind of thing, you know. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, because it has all the letters in the alphabet, and so like this kind of thing is normal.
I don't know if you've heard of the phrase, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. That is an alphabetic pangram that includes every single letter in the English alphabet. It's a phrase that I've personally used to essentially like test out keyboards and see like what my fingers feel like reaching to every letter in the alphabet.
You gotta see what your fingers feel like. Gotta keep tabs on those things, those bad boys. Yeah, pre-watch. Caught red-handed. I should have just hit play and shut up, and then they would have gotten to it.
Keyboard. As for what Kojima included in his trailer, this phrase right here, the phonetic pangram, it uses all the sounds or phonemes in the English language. Basically, every kind of sound that your mouth could produce speaking the English language, it's all apparently featured in this one phrase, just like how the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog includes every single letter in the alphabet. What the exact meaning of this is obviously hard to say because the trailer is so vague, and this is all basically kind of gibberish here.
My takeaway was it just seemed like they were doing vocal warm-ups while in like the camera setup, and they filmed it and then they used that. Like when I was doing plays and musicals before the show, as part of our mic check, like you would do the mic check, and how they would do the mic check is you would go up on stage and then recite one of these things as like a tongue twister to get warmed up. So like, or as a way of going through different sounds or different things. Yeah, with all this, yeah, you're just being a hater. Yeah, my lack of interest in engaging in speculative nonsense, if that makes me a hater, yes, I'm a hater. Sure, you got me. you got me. I don't have the energy at the end of the day. I've been there. I've done this with some games. Like in years past when I was getting hyped for stuff, and I just don't find it productive. Like, what do you get from it? I just don't see it. Like, some people, they just love the process of the hype and getting excited for stuff. Like, they just love that, and I can understand it, but I think it just primes you to be disappointed too much. Like, the potential downside doesn't outweigh the positive of like the fun hype. It's like when I was making those videos about Starfield, telling people, hey, something about this just doesn't really make sense. I think people are getting overhyped, and go through all of this. And people on the subreddit were like, Luke's just trying to bash on our fun, and he just likes hating stuff and blah, blah, blah. And now those people are far more like shattered as a result of Starfield not living up to their hype and expectations, simply because of that. Like, nothing else happened other than that they allowed themselves to get more hyped. And the interesting thing was, I do remember one comment or one post where it was a guy asking, and I think we talked about it on stream. It was somebody asking, am I weird, or is there something wrong with me that I don't want to read or engage with content that will make me more critical? Like, basically he was asking, I don't like watching videos that make my hype level more tame. I don't like to have people talk me off the cliff. I like being hyped about stuff, and so I don't like watching that content. Is that bad? And some people were like, well, kind of, because you're building an echo chamber for yourself where you're only ever going to hear stuff that you want to hear, and that's never good for anybody. But one of the top comments was a guy that simply said, I am in this for the journey to the game's launch. He said, I'm here for the community of people that are hyped and excited for it, and that's why I'm here. Because I like the process of the hype and the speculation. That's what I like. And if the game ends up being awesome, great. If it ends up sucking, oh well. But for him, his hobby wasn't even like gaming or playing Starfield or other Bethesda games. His hobby was like engaging in the speculation and the hype about the game, which I had never heard somebody say. I had never even thought of that being a thing, but apparently that is a thing. And some people do just kind of go from thing to thing, bouncing from hype to hype to hype. They play the game maybe for like 50, 60 hours, and that's it. Like, and then they move on to getting hyped over the next game. That's where most of their time is spent, in the subreddit for that game, which I found really interesting. I never heard that before, but Apparently it's a thing. There was a bit of a big old leak that happened on Christmas, on the day of our Lord Santa Claus. And it apparently was in the works for a while. It goes back to one of the big leaks that happened back, I think, with this original big leak of all the clips and stuff, I think earlier this year, late last year, whenever that was. And there was a leak of source code for Grand Theft Auto 5, a bunch of development footage, a bunch of data, scripts, different tools that Rockstar uses and all this. Now, here's the thing. Recently, we had the Insomniac leak. And I made a video being like, I'm not going to go into all of this. I'm not going to break down everything. I'm not going to show you footage because it's not productive and it's not my content to share or show or anything like that. And in the case of GTA 5 leaks, it's a similar story. Like if there's stuff in here that's going to be unproductive or is going to harm your experience with future games that they're putting out, like for example, as far as I know, this is not in the leaks, but if there were story leaks with GTA 6 where like it's the full script of the game just leaked, of course I wouldn't share that. I wouldn't talk about it. I wouldn't do any of that stuff. Okay. I wouldn't even touch it. However, what we're talking about here is a bunch of like details for endings that were cut from Grand Theft Auto 5, or potential plans for DLC for Grand Theft Auto 5 that ended up being cut and abandoned and things like that. So in this case, I don't find ignoring it to be productive. I think discussing this, it's like finding old clips of like, you guys remember just a few weeks ago when that original test footage of the original design of Shrek dropped? This dropped, and it's an original test animation for Shrek before they fully greenlit the film and produced it. And like, this is what they thought Shrek was going to look like. But like this is a leak. This was something that they didn't want released, that they didn't plan on it. But we're talking about something so many years ago. Nobody's really, being harmed by showing this, right? And in the case of talking about the GTA 5 leaks, it's like we're talking about DLC that's never going to get made. Or we're talking about endings that were cut and were never going to be seen. So like, what are you going to do? I'm of course not going to show any of the specific stuff because, again, it's of a questionable nature. But basically all you need to know is that a ton of source code has been leaked. A ton of this stuff has been dropped. And it's a problem because now they have the actual blueprints for basically how these games are made. And that leads to potential issues with exploits. That leads to issues with hackers in GTA Online. On the flip side, it can lead to a lot of cool stuff with mods because the modders now have basically the original plans for the game, the original source material, and they can work with it. So you're going to see some crazy mods coming out of this, I'm sure, but it's still crazy. Like, this is a very big deal. With all this, with the GTA leak, though, like I said, I'm not going to go into any details or anything, but basically there was a bunch of little bitty leaks, and then somebody compiled it and was able to get it running. And yeah, I mean, it's just all sorts of stuff. There's DLC leaks, mission and weapon sheets, DLC concepts, information from Bully, which apparently has been canceled and walked away from, and these are not as exciting as you might have thought. Like, they're kind of really, really boring. Like ooh, scandalous. Like, just to be clear, it's not as much stuff as you might have thought, but it does show that they were in fact working on Bully 2 at some point before walking away from it. They've been working on GTA 6 forever. And for us, I mean, it's more just a lot of stuff we already knew about, but now we can actually see the real versions of it. But man, it's crazy how much data this guy was able to pull. It's absolutely crazy. There's also information about the game Agent, which was seemingly abandoned. They might still be working on it secretively, but probably not. Yeah, there's just a lot of crazy stuff in here going back years and years and years, and it's all leaked, which is it's just wild. It's wild to see this happen like this. And then for them to do it on Christmas Day is even more like, that's even more crazy. It's just wild. So we'll see what impact this has. Of course, I'm not saying that we're going to see Rockstar move to Unreal or anything. I don't think they would ever do that. But it's going to change how a lot of this stuff will work with online, with cheat detection. Like, it just got a lot easier to crack some of these games. A lot easier.
He took my thing.